All right, now let's go back to this silly example of the population of these cities and the number of Walmarts. How can we find the line of fit, and how can we find the correlation? Now, there's a couple of things that we're going to do, and the first thing that we're going to do really here is we're going to just go to the calculator on this. Now, we're going to use the TI-83 Plus or the TI-84 Plus, and you're going to need one of these to do this assignment. So it's a good thing that you're going to watch the videos ahead of time. If you don't have a calculator, you're going to have to come into class and hit the ground running and take your calculator and get these things done. Now, it is possible to come by my classroom during coaching or something like that. I'll let you sit over on that side table and borrow a calculator and spend some additional time. And I'll allow you to do that for this particular session. But really, the long and short of it is you need to investigate the possibility of having a calculator, because these kind of things are going to pop up from time to time in the course. So now, let's take the calculator, and we're going to use the calculator to do this data set. Now, first of all, before we can do anything else, we have to put the data into the calculator. Now, to do that, turn your calculator on, and do you see the second button down in the third column? It says STAT. That stands for statistics to the calculator, and if you press that button, you should get this screen right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put the X numbers, the population numbers, in list 1 of the calculator, and we're going to put the number of Walmarts, the Y numbers, in list 2. So we need to edit the list. That's number 1, so press enter for edit. Now, I have information already in these lists because I've been doing things. If you have information in your lists, let me show you how you can clear them. Well, first of all, you could just type numbers over the numbers that are there, and the new numbers will be in there. But if you have a list and you want to clear it before you start entering your numbers, what you can do is you can press the up arrow so that list 1 is highlighted. Now, when list 1 is highlighted, if you press the clear button, don't press delete at this particular point, but if you press the clear button, I'm going to press it now, clear, and then press enter, that will clear list 1. And then you can go over to list 2, go up so that list 2 is highlighted, and you can press clear to clear list 2 also. Now, I said to you, don't press the delete button at this point. If you're up here where list 2 is highlighted and you press the delete button, watch what happens. When you press delete, notice list 2 went away. You deleted list 2 from your list of lists, which is a terrible thing to do. Now, we need it back. So I'm going to show you, if you happen to do that, I'm going to show you how to get it back. Okay, so to get it back, what you would do is first you'd have to get out of this edit mode, and that's by pressing the second button, and then the mode button, which is second mode, is quit. And notice we're back to the main screen. Then if you press stat, look down at number 5 under edit. It says setup editor. 5 is the setup editor, and what it does is it sets up your list of lists. So if list 2 has been deleted from your list of lists, you can go to 5, setup editor, and press enter. You'll see the word done. And now the wonderful thing is that list 2 is now back in your list of lists. Watch stat, edit, and it's back. But now notice, you didn't clear anything out of list 2. You had just cleared it out of your list of lists. If we need to clear list 2, we go to list 2, go up, highlight L2, and then press clear and enter, not delete and enter. And now list 2 is cleared as well. Now we're going to go back and type in the numbers and press enter. 123, enter. 243, enter. 346, oops, look at that. Now I can back up and change that. 46, enter. 409, enter. and 432, enter. Okay, now I have the X's in list 1. Press the right arrow to go to list 2, and I'm going to put the Y's in list 2. 6, enter. 7, enter. 9, enter. 10, enter. 9, enter. Now, there's a couple of things that have to happen. So look at your screen here. Look at my screen, and you'll see, notice I have the X's in the first list, the Y's in the second list. I have the X's and Y's that are paired together in the same rows in the two lists. And I have the dotted lines at the bottom at the same place in both lists. I don't have more X's than Y's or more Y's than X's. Anything like that, and the calculator is just going to say, oh, there's an error here, and it'll stop. It won't do anything. Now, let's take a look at the scatter plot on the calculator. We can do these on the scatter plot. Now, notice the window for the scatter plot I did goes from 5 on Y to 10 on Y. Well, let's go to, let's say, 11. And the X list goes from 0 to 450. So we're going to set the window, the X min to be 0, the X max to be 450. Now, the scale, X scale, right now the X scale is 1. That means the calculator is going to make a mark every 1 unit on the X-axis, and that's going to end up looking like this, if you could see that, and that's just not going to be useful. So if we look at the graph, actually, it looks like every line on our graph is about every 50, so let's change the X scale to 50. The X scale doesn't matter that much, but it's a good idea to set it up. Now, the Y min, we have 5 on our graph. The Y max, let's make it 12. And the Y scale of 1 is what we're doing at the moment. Now, if you press graph, you're not going to get anything because you haven't told the calculator yet to plot these points. So we have to go to stat plot and turn on a stat plot. Now, to do that, you press the second button and then the Y equals button, and you should see this screen. Now, press enter, and we're going into plot 1. Now, notice on your calculator, most likely, the on, off, off is highlighted. So the stat plot is not turned on. You want to go ahead and turn it on. Now, let's take a look at the rest of it. There's 6 different types of graphs that the calculator will give you. It'll give you the stat plot, which is the one that's highlighted. It'll give you a line graph, a bar graph, box and whiskers, an extended bar and whisker with outliers, and then some other graph. I'm not sure what we would call that. That looks like another line graph. But anyway, we want the stat plot, so that's the one that's highlighted. We wanted to use list 1 for the X's and list 2 for the Y's, and there it is. That's done. And you've got 3 different choices of marks. I'll just leave it on the first mark, but you can play around with the marks if you want. Now, we've set the window. We've turned on the stat plot. So if you press graph, there's your scatter plot. Wonderful, isn't it? It gets better. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to get the regression equation. Now, to get the regression equation, hang on, I have to pause here for, and I'm back. Now, to get the regression equation, we have to actually ask the calculator to compute that. So that comes, if you go back to the stat button, to this screen right here, go over to the calculate menu, and then the linear regression is what we want, and that's number 4 on this list of different calculator things that the statistics calculations the calculator will do. So if you press 4, you'll either get this or you'll get something that looks like this. You'll get linreg ax plus b, and then underneath that, hang on, I'm going to pause again for a second here. And I'm back. Sorry about that. It'll say linreg ax plus b. That'll be highlighted most likely. And then it'll say x list and then colon. And it'll probably have list 1 there. And then it'll say y list. And there'll be a colon. It'll probably say L2. And then it'll say freak list, a colon, there won't be anything there. Then it'll say store reg EQ with a colon, and then there will be calculate. Okay, now, if your calculator has this on the screen when you did linear regression 4, then we're okay. Let me just show you what we're going to do here, and then I'll point out over here exactly how that is the same thing. So first of all, on my calculator, I want to use list 1 for the x's. Now notice your calculator, if it says this, already has list 1 for the x's, but I have to tell the calculator to use list 1. So I'm going to press second and then the 1 button. Now notice when I press second 1, right after linreg ax plus b, list 1 showed up. If you've got xlist list 1 already, you really don't have to do anything because it's already got list 1 there for you. Now I now have to press a comma. That's the button right above the 7. And I need to now put right after that the y list, which is second 2. And so I have list 1, comma, list 2. Now I'm going to type another comma. Now the frequency list is something that's used in some statistical calculations, but we're not going to worry with that, so you just leave that one alone. Don't put anything in there. Go down to store reg EQ. Now, I've got the comma here, and I'm ready for the place for my regression equation. And to do that, what you do is you type the vars button, which is the first button in the 4th column, and then you go over to yvars, and you press enter for function, and you press enter for y1. Now notice what my calculator did here on the screen was it put y1 right next to the comma after list 2. Now, you needed to have your cursor right here and then go through that same keystrokes, vars, go over to yvars, function y1, and you should end up with a y1 right there. Now, when I press enter, the calculator is going to do these calculations. What you'll do if you have this other operating system is you'll go down so that calculate is highlighted and press enter, and then it'll do the calculations. So go ahead and do the calculations there. I'm going to press enter here, and I get the calculations as well. Okay, now if you had trouble getting that done, wind this tape back and try it again. But this is going to have to go away now so that I can talk to you more about this. But work on that till you can do that, because that's something that you need to be able to do. All right. Now, if you look at this printout here, now we have y is equal to ax plus b. That's a linear equation, and it tells us what a is, and it tells us what b is. Now, also, if you press y equals, that's the top button in the left column, you'll see that what it's done is it's put it in y1. That's what we asked it to do when we put y1 after list 1 and list 2. Okay. Now, if you press graph, notice that the line is also graphed as well as the data points. And now, when we look at that, we can see that this appears to be a fairly strong correlation.